my name is Roderick Uda. I work for a festival in Holland called Afropop Festival, which is one of the major Dutch festivals. It's a free pop festival.
Hi, my name is Laura Kieselhoff. I'm the marketing manager Benelux for Caroline Benelux, a new independent label that started last year worldwide, and we're working here at the Amsterdam office for Belgium, Holland and Luxembourg.
My name is Erik Veerman. Do you want me to look now? My name is Erik Veerman, and I'm one of the owners, together with Paul Smelt, of Global Master Rights. This company, we started it around a year ago, and before that I was one of the account managers for international artists and representing their rights all over the world. And before that I was a bass player in many bands.
Okay, my name is Paul Smelt. I'm the other director of Global Master Rights. Well, basically the same history. I used to be account manager at Senna as well, representing international artists. Before that I studied, I also studied political science, Rock Academy, played in several bands as a guitar player.
My name is Stefan Den Daas. Half of Deep Look and Estefan, which is a hardstyle performing duo and producer team. We're situated in Holland, and we're part of the label Scantrax, which is a huge record label from Holland, determined to the harder styles of dance music.
I'm Alicios. I work as a tour manager. I work for my own company called CM Management, and I do artists that are signed by Spinner Records. My favorite music genre is hip-hop and also house, otherwise I wouldn't do this work.
My name is Rob Orlemans, and I'm a guitar player. And I play blues rock. And I have also a studio, and I write my own songs and lyrics.
Yeah, my name is Dennis Luken. I'm 44 years old. For the last 8 years I was an entrepreneur. Before that I worked in the media, radio stations.
When the vocals come, you have to change it. As a woman can be, or the dynamics, but some people they play. It sounds constantly the same, but you have to put dynamics in it, and that's what I like to do when I was young. But I never thought that I could do that. You know, I had doubts about myself, because when I see those guitar players, Jimi Hendrix and Black Sabbath and those blues guys, I thought that's impossible. Huh? But I played a little bit acoustic, and when I was 18 years old I started to play electric guitar, and immediately in a band, and then it went fast, and it cost me, how do you say that, I couldn't keep my head on the school, and you know, I walked away when I had a test, an exam, a test, because the band bus was, hey man, come, we were standing outside, we have to go, so I walked away. But I have, but I finished all my studies, and I walked. I had also a job till 1990. Till 2000, year 2000, because yeah, you need money for your house and everything, and I didn't have the guts to take the risk of being full prof, but I did it in 2000, and yeah,
it worked out.
Quit the job. I had a very good job, but I quit it. Yeah, now I'm doing okay.
I decided that I really wanted to pursue a career in the music industry. Basically during my internship I was studying economics as well at Hogeschool, and I did an internship at Universal, the major record label, and during that I just found out that I really enjoyed what I was doing. I was assisting the promotions and marketing department. Yeah, and it was really a blast like the whole year. So when I saw like what they were doing and how the whole company was working, I thought like, wow, this is something so cool, I want to be part of this. So yeah, that was the moment where I thought like, let's go for it.
It was a bit like a coincidence because I was working in insurance business and I wanted to do something else. And then I applied for a job at a radio station at Sky Radio. That was in fact my first contact with the music scene. And I liked it so much that I stayed in there, and after almost 10 years I started my own company, and it was also of course in the music business. So it was like more sort of a coincidence. I didn't really choose to work as a starting point to work there, but when I worked there I loved it, so I still do.
I was always a big fan of music and dance in particular. At one point in my life, I was really fascinated by DJs and the music that they were playing, and I was interested in how producers make their own music. So I started to educate myself and learn from others and from the internet how I could make my own songs and what it takes to be a good DJ and a good performer. And when I started learning, and I was like in the middle of that progress, I met my companion, Diederik, which is also a good producer and artist. And when we started working together, we really found our own sound, which wasn't there at the moment, but where we thought there was a big market for, and what we were missing on parties when we were going to them. And we loved to go to big house festivals, but we were missing a kind of combination between music, melody, and energetic music. So we started to make that ourselves. We wanted like powerful music, but with a lot of emotion in it, melodies. And when we started to do that, a lot of DJs picked it up like almost right away. And organizations were interested in that music and started to ask us to perform on their events.
Well, at least it's not necessary to study something like music management per se, because I can prove that I didn't, and a lot of people I've worked with didn't really study it. What you should have is understanding of the business and understanding of music business, and that's not something you can learn in school. That's something that you need to experience. Music business is all about experience, and I started 10 years ago as a volunteer. I volunteered at Apple Pop, and I also volunteered at a couple of other events. I met people when I did that. I showed that I was eager to. I was not in music business because I wanted to be involved, because I thought it was cool or something. I just was interested in how an event was ran, and I thought it was nice to be part of building towards one goal together. So that was my reason to start doing it, and I volunteered, and I showed that I was eager to make it. I was eager to at least put all the energy in it that I had, and to make it a success.
Well, probably about 15 years ago when I started to play guitar. First had this very broad vision, I want to be a guitar player and do all the things we dream of. Well, that never really did happen with a lot of success. So I think it was a natural thing to go and study at this music academy. So yeah, sort of natural thing to go into the music industry. I never really thought of it. Hey, I want to be a director of the company and the music rights or whatsoever. But it was a step-by-step thing for me.
Yeah, for me, when I was young, I come from a musical family. I had an uncle who was a guitar player, and he inspired me a lot with all the music he made. And from that point on I was thinking about, hey, that's a great, nice thing, the music in general, and I went to a lot of concerts, and when I started to play the bass guitar, I was for the first time really thinking, hey, I can make my job out of making music. And while I was studying bass guitar, I was thinking, oh shit, I don't know if I really want to be a musician all my life, because it's an extremely specialistic thing. If you only can do that and at a certain age you don't like it anymore, you can never go back. I mean, so that's why I decided at a certain, when I was playing in all these bands and stuff, I found out, hey, this business side of the music is also an interesting thing, and a lot of artists are not aware about how contracts work or how their rights work, all those things. And so I more or less started to get interested in those things and decided to start studying music management. And that's how I more and more became involved in the business side of the music industry.
I never had the ambition, because I'm like 22 right now, so I never had the ambition to go to the music business. I just rolled in like 4 years ago with my two best mates, and from last year on I thought I want to do this for real. That's when I started the company and stuff. Well, my two best mates were like DJing in a local club, and I was with them all the time. I was the guy that getting the beer and getting the drunk guys off the stage and that kind of stuff. And then we decided we want to take this to the next level. And they were producing their own tracks, and they got signed by Spinner Records. And that's the point where they said, okay, we need to take this professionally, so if you want to be on the team, you need to get professional also. So that's when I got a name and a function and so on, so on, so on.
That's a great question. I thought about it. Maybe I would be the manager of a really big artist, like maybe Robbie Williams or stuff like that, guys like that. I think you can put all your creativity into that, and you can see a lot of the world, and you meet a lot of people, visit cool places. So I think that would be my dream job.
I'm really happy with the job I have at the moment. I'd love to be an artist or a performer and a DJ as well. There's nothing better than to perform for a crowd that goes nuts on your music, and to see what your music is doing to an audience. But if I wouldn't be able to perform anymore, I would love to be an artist handler or an artist manager, because I know all the things that come with being an artist, and I think I can educate and guide someone really well in their career.
In all honesty, if I could have any job in the music industry, I doubt it would be anything different that I'm doing today, because I really enjoy my job, and I think if I wouldn't be happy, I would probably have been looking for something else. So I'm very much content at the moment. So there's no other job in the industry that at the moment I desire a lot.
Maybe after tour managing, because I don't see myself traveling around the world till I'm like 40, 50. I want to be a booker, so book artists at clubs and festivals and stuff.
But also in the same music style, or?
I don't know. Right now I'm settled, so I like the DJing and the traveling and stuff. Maybe I want to go one day at the hip hop genre.
Well, for me, what we do now is really what I want to do. I've been working at several companies in the music industry, and I used to be involved more with the creative product, but I do like to be working on an international level, and when you're based in the Netherlands and work with Dutch artists, the international level is a bit, well, it's not there actually. So I really like what we do now. Now we represent artists and record companies from all around the world, and we are active much more in the business side of things, which sometimes, well, is a bit like I'm missing the creative aspects a bit, but we're working on that one. So maybe we will start our own label in the future and start releasing our own repertoire also. So what I'm doing now is exactly what I want to do.
Yeah, and that's really the nice part of this job, the combination of business side of the music industry, so more into the real figures and money streams and stuff, but also still the artistic component, which is still there because we have direct dealings with all these record companies releasing repertoire, and these guys are more focused on the creative side. So yeah, I think this is really one of the best jobs at this moment.
And of course the entrepreneurship, that I'm not working for anyone else anymore, but I'm directly responsible for my own company and for my own results, and I don't have to give any what's the word, responsibilities, or I don't have to be responsible for things that someone else has been giving me to do or something. I decide myself what I want to do and how I want to do it, and if it goes wrong, I'm the only one who has the problem, and I don't have to give anyone else some notice or whatever.
Oh, that's a lovely question. No one ever asks that. Well, that's a good one. I think, well, I would definitely love to work at one of the bigger international companies, because I really like making contact with people in the music business all around the world, because one of the reasons I'm in music business is because of the creativity. I really like the working with artists, because artists are the most creative people in the world. They create stuff, they create songs, and they really inspire me. And I most like working with artists from all different backgrounds, from all different countries or cities, because that gives even more creative influence. So I would love to have a job maybe at one of the major international agencies, or maybe working with bands, like not as an agent but as a manager. A bit what I do now, but on a bigger scale. That's what I would love to do. Afropop's great to do, but it's once a year, and I'd like to kind of use my knowledge and the things that I spotted, the great bands that I spotted. I'd like to use that all year round instead of just for that one festival. I'm working on it all year round. I mean, I'm preparing it from the moment or even before the last year's festival takes place. I already start working on next year's festival, but then still it's just working towards one goal, which is what I really like in music business as well. So I like focusing on something and working towards it, but then because it's only once a year, it's nicer to also have something all year round, where you can really support the bands that you really like, more than just giving them one show.
What I'm doing now, what I'm doing right now, but then more gigs and more bigger festivals, that's what I hope. And I hope that we have the chance with this kind of music to get more on TV, not for the fame, but that people see, that they all see the same crap. Huh?
Pop.
Yeah, but there's a lot of crap in it. And yeah, you see it, but maybe most people like that, but I can't imagine that. Huh? If the camera is off, I can tell you more about that.
So more gigs, more festivals.
Yeah, that's what I hope. But I love playing on the stage. That's for me the best. Yeah.
This must be where I...
If there's anything I can change in the music industry, that's a very hard question. I think one of the things I dislike most of the industry, and it's not something probably particularly for the music industry, more maybe an entertainment industry thing, is that, yeah, I always call it air castles. There's quite a lot of air castles, or just people that are like really talking as if like a new band that is signed is definitely the new U2, or like that everything is amazing and fantastic. And of course, there's a lot of companies, especially the big ones, that are part of American companies, and like this American vibe you see basically throughout all the offices worldwide, and then you get a bit of this vibe that everything is amazing and fantastic. And well, probably of me being Dutch is something that sometimes I find a bit difficult, because I think, we'll see. Like, of course it's good, let's see if it's amazing. So this whole like thing that everybody hypes things up so much is something that if I could change it, I would say like, okay, let's just all calm down and see what will happen.
I think I would change the way record companies work, because I think they're a bit like old-fashioned, and they have to improve the way they work, the marketing way they work. They have to think more about the new possibilities, like new media, instead of like living a bit in the past, I think. So maybe if the music is of course really a creative business, and in my experience most of the record companies aren't that creative. They're like a bit old-fashioned, because when they started they earned a lot of money, and now they are having a lot of difficulties, and if they would be more like from this time, it would be better, I think. But I never worked at a record company, so maybe a lot of people get offended, but that's my opinion.
But I think music changes a lot, like the whole time. It's an ongoing progress, and it never stops. So I think, and we really believe in that as well, that the changes are for the better always, and you're also part of the change as well. So, like I already said before, when you follow your heart and your own path, you can change at least the path that's there for you, and the rest of the people, it's really hard to change that.
It's just one of those days.
Music industry is kind of organised chaos. You've got contracts, but a contract's not always a very like secure deal that you made, because in the contract already you'll find things like if you're a festival promoter and you've got a contract with an artist that comes to play your festival, there might be in the contract something like if we want to go abroad, or if we've got the opportunity to play a show abroad, we can cancel this show that we've got with you. Things like that make it very difficult to make deals. So it's just a thing that you have to accept, and sometimes it can be pretty annoying, but it's just the way it works. So I studied international finance, I studied economics, so I'm an economist, and I'm really used to things being very well organised and structured. But I learned, what I really like about my work in the music business is that I learned to accept that things are not always structured, and you just have to deal with it. One of my colleagues at Apple Pop always says, you're trying to organise something that you can't organise. Music business is something you cannot really organise. For Apple Pop, if I'm doing the pre-production phase, so planning everything before the festival, getting the riders in from the artists and making like time schedules and planning everything. Generally, I've got great tables in Excel or on the computer, and then the 2 days before the festival, about half of it changes because people suddenly have a few more crew members that they want to take to the festival, or they can't be there in time, or they want to change an interview to another time, or they want to skip a signing session, or they want to whatever. Loads of things happen at very last minute, and that makes it difficult to organise, but also makes it very exciting. So it's just something I really like, and something that you have to accept if you work in
I think a lot of people
but it's also the thing
how
that makes
people
it
will
really
perceive the industry, mostly because, well, I think the big difference, if you look, for instance, at the film industry and the music industry, is that in the film industry, like all the marketing teams and the promotion teams, they know 3 years up front that a big movie is going to be released in a certain time frame, because by the time that a movie started to be shooted, they already have the whole time schedule ready for when they're going to be finished shooting the movie, when they're going to edit it, when it's going to be ready, when it's going to hit the cinemas. There's such a long lead time that you start your marketing promotion campaign a year up front with trailers and poster campaigns, and this whole the whole lead time of the marketing campaign is very long. While in the music industry, we work way more with persons, with artists, the creative persons behind the product. Of course, the film industry isn't different, but the actors, the creative persons of a movie don't decide when the product is finished. For instance, there's such a big team that is working on a movie. While with us, it's the artist that decides when the album is ready and when they are happy with it and when they stop editing or mixing in this case, and when they deliver the final product, the album, to the record label. And they're artists, they're very creative persons, but normally not the most organized ones. So it happens quite often that the master tape of an album gets missing, and in the end it's being found in the bed drawer of an artist. This happens, for instance, with Erykah Badu, where the tape of the final master of the album was missing, and nobody knew where it was, and the album had to hit the stores a month later, but we didn't even have music yet, and it turns out it was in her bedroom in a drawer somewhere. She just forgot to deliver it to her manager, who delivered it to the record label. So for us it's always like a bit of a guess when the product is finished, when the artist is finished with his or her music. And then we have a lead time for around 12 to 20 weeks when we're gonna actually release the album. So it's a very short amount of time where you have to get everything ready, get all the retailers on board, media, make a whole promo and marketing plan. So that's very different from other industries in the entertainment industry. So yeah, I can perceive that might come across a bit chaotic if everything changes so quickly and you need to sometimes postpone stuff or suddenly bring it forward and change your plans because artists don't want to do promo, they do want to do promo, or all these kind of things change with the day basically. So yeah, that can come across a bit chaotic probably.
That's right, I think. You have to make very good appointments, and a lot of people don't sign or whatever, or they make half appointments, or they. You have to be. You have to make good appointments. That's actually and know what you want. And always make no half deals. I made also mistakes with that. Okay, we sign it later, and then the problems come after a year or 2 years. From hey man, I got so much money from you because you said it to me. I said, hey. But the market is very difficult because there are a lot of amateur bands who play very cheap, and they play in small clubs, 3 bands a night, and they bring all their friends, so they play for free, so the club is full, and we can't play because we are too expensive. So you have to figure out how you can get good gigs.
I don't really think it's chaotic. It's more like a dynamic market where things change really rapidly, and you have to react on that pretty quickly. But in some cases it's also not that dynamic as you think it is, because as I told you already about the record companies, they're like these big boats who sail a certain course, and they don't change that often. So it's not. I think it's not that chaotic as you think it is. It's more like a dynamic world, and you have to be very very alert. But that's I think in every occasion you have to be alert. So. Because when you're organizing an event, then it's really hectic and really pretty a lot of pressure is on your shoulders, because you have the responsibility for so many people. So in that case, it's a bit you're right. It's a bit hectic and chaotic, because when you organize a festival, you build up to a certain point. It's 1 day or 2 days, and everything has to be perfect. So that's really a hectic situation. After that, when it's finished, you feel like a balloon which is empty, because there's so much pressure on your shoulders.
It's really important to be determined and to have a lot of talent. I think these two key factors are really important to make it in this world, because talent is always recognized. It's not a scene where you get a lot of opportunities, and when someone spots your talents, they will be happy to give you an opportunity to work for them. And determination, because the chances are little. You have to be really determined and be sure of what you want and what you want to achieve in this world to make it there.
Volunteering somewhere, showing what you're made of, you'll meet more and more people, and you'll build a reputation of someone who's very good at the things that he wants to do, and that's the way to make it work. There's no way you will ever become an agent at Live Nation or a promoter or Ziggo Dome or whatever if you don't start very small, volunteering, getting understanding of what music business is like, and then building your career towards a function like that. I started building it independently, so for me it's not easy to get into a major company like that. But I feel like I'm doing quite well. I've experienced great things with the bands that I work with. I experienced great things at Apple Pop, and all those chances that I get are because I spent years and years and years volunteering, not doing it for the money. I've always been making money with something else, so having another job on the side to be able to have a stable income and invest a lot of energy and time in a certain thing that I wanted to get successful in. So that's the most important thing that I can say about it. Volunteer somewhere and show what you're made of, and don't just think that you can, by doing some kind of studies or by reading a book about how music industry works, that you can be successful in it.
Well, it's very hard right now to get in the music business, because everybody wants to get in the music business because they think you make a lot of money, don't do shit, and get to know a lot of well-known people. But it's hard working and not that much paying. But if you still want it, you need a big network. You can't just go on monsterboard.com and then ask for artist manager and then click on Sutterstate and be an artist manager. No, you really need to know people. You need to just pick up your phone and you think, oh, that guy works at Spinning Records, oh, that guy works at Universal. Just call that guy and ask, you got an internship for me. Always start low. So my advice is you need a huge network, and if you want to get in the business, you have to start from the bottom.
I think you have to stay really close to yourself if you want to organize a festival. If you want to do something you don't have that connection with, or you don't know what the target group really is into, maybe you have to stay away from that. Or you have to hire people who have that connection with the target group. Because I think it's really about details in that kind of situation. And if you make the wrong choices because you don't have the knowledge of the art of the target group, you create the totally wrong atmosphere, and your festival isn't a success. So I think I think you can see that as well as if you look at the promoters or the organizer of a festival. They always do. They organize festivals who are really close with their own interests and their own heart, because in that case you get the best connection with your target group. As an example, you can see that Pinkpop, the organizer is for a small part is Jan Smeets, and he has a really good connection with rock and roll at the old days. So he booked the Rolling Stones for his festival, but I'm not sure if it was the right move to do for the Pinkpop atmosphere because maybe he's too old and he's lost the connection with his target group. So if I answer your question, don't do that. Stay to your own stay close to yourself.
That doesn't mean that I'm good or something, but that's the way I play. Maybe someone else said, well, a fucking lousy guitar player, the guy, but I don't give a shit. Blues licks, that's it for me. But I can also play, yeah. But I don't like that so much, that stuff, you know, that tapping. But I do it sometimes on stage for the fun, or I play extremely fast. It's just gimmicks, but it had nothing to do with good playing, man. You have to put the right note on the right spot. Yeah. That must be a hell of a woman, man. If she crawls to you, right? I make a joke, but that's the way I play. Simple licks, but I try to play them good.